Good morning, all of you.
इसको कहाँ से साइड में कर दो। ये फेस कांटेक्ट किसी को घर आ रखा मैंने किया
Welcome to
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2-day National Conference on Antimicrobial Resistant Trends, Environmental Microbiology and Industrial Solutions, Artemis 2024. A special thanks to Professor Nathu Ram Puri. Professor Pandey is currently Distinguished Scientist at Center for Innovation and Translational Research, CSIR, Indian Institute of Toxicology Research, Lucknow, India. His major research and technological development interests are industrial and environmental biotechnology and energy biosciences, focusing on biomass to biofuels and chemicals, waste to energy, etc. He has 16 patents, 120 books, and more than 1,000 papers and book chapters. Please give a big round of applause. Etc. With an H-index of 139 and more than 89,000 of citation. Hey, Talia bajni chahiye. Come on, let's give a big round of applause. Professor Pandey is a recipient of many national, international awards and honors, which include Fellow of 5 international and 4 national academics, such as World Academy of Sciences, Indian National Science Academy, National Academy of Sciences, Distinguished Fellow of the Biotech Research Society India, Academician of European Academy of Sciences and Arts, Indian Research Excellence Citation Award 2023, Clarivate Analytics 2023, highly cited researcher and top 1% in the world, Clarivate Analytics since 2018 to 2022, rank 1 in India and Biology in India, research.com 2020 to 2023, rank 1 in India in microbiology under enabling and strategic technology sector elsewhere 2021, rank 1 in India in biotechnology and 8 in the world Stanford University report of 2022, 2021 and 2022. He is and has been the visiting professor in more than 20 countries. Professor Pandey will today deliver a talk on sustainable solid waste treatment and management. With a huge round of applause, may I take this privilege to invite Professor Pandey, a dynamic personality and young from heart, onto the dais. Please occupy the seats over that side. A humble request, please keep your mobile phones on silent mode.
Come and sit down. I do not want anybody to stand. All of you. Come this side. Those who have the seat.
Please take your seats.
All of you, please take a seat. There are a lot of seats here. All right. So again, good morning and welcome in this session. The topic, as you see, is sustainable solid waste treatment and management. And when I gave this topic, which is very close to my heart, and when I take you on this journey, embarking with me, looking at different aspects of solid waste treatment and management, I hope you'll understand what I'm trying to make, and it is quite relevant with the theme of conference. Of course, if the host had asked me, that I would have changed the topic, making it more to microbiology. But in any case, microbiology, you keep listening from your teacher every day. So why to put more specific microbiology aspect, a broad topic which is very relevant, which has a great input from microbiology, biotechnology, engineering and all that is what I am trying to do to this one. And remember that in today's time, when you go into market means after your degree, master's or PhD or whatever, you have to go into job market. And in the job market, if you say that you are a microbiologist, more focused on, for example, taxonomy, or more focused specific aspect of microbiology, and you are expert in that area, but you do not know other things, probably nobody will give you a job. This point should be very clear to everyone, that he did not like my statement. In today's time, it's very, very important. You have anyway done microbiology, masters, you have done PhD on a specific topic, and everybody would expect that you know that one. So when you go for interviews, probably nobody will ask you a question, or maybe for the sake of formality, couple of questions from your PhD thesis or master thesis. Not more than that. They are going to evaluate your overall capability to work in a team or to contribute the overall cause of industry or whatever it could be, including a teaching assignment. All right? So this point should be out of box, but then you have to keep into mind that this approach is extremely relevant and important and need of our, specifically when you go for research as your profession. So let us move on to this one. What I am going to talk to you is briefly talking about my institutes where I come from, and then giving the introduction of few information about solid waste, what is the global scenario, and giving specific examples that what we can get and why we should get from this kind of solid waste, which normally we do not know what to do. Technology options, that today what we have, where we stand into technological aspect, and then we'll draw some conclusion from these slides. So I come from CSR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Perhaps all of you know about that. This is one of the most important and perhaps the prime research and industrial organization in this country. Has 37 labs. It's wrongly mentioned here. Again, my apologies. 37 institutes distributed in different parts of the country. In Gujarat, we have one institute, CSCMRI in Gandhinagar. When these institutes were made, each of them had a very specific charter, not to overlap with any other institutes. But the scenario has completely changed in last 10 years or something like that, or 15 years rather I would say. Beginning from 2003, we started to talk about cross-field research and multidisciplinary approaches for tackling any kind of R&D which has a societal application or technological avenues. All right, so the laboratories have been classified into different areas, for example, engineering sciences, biological sciences and all that. So biological sciences, for example, 12 laboratories have been classified, and they work in collaboration with each other, and there is huge commonality now on expertise. And this is where we realize that when we want to develop something for the society, when we want to develop a technology, such a collaboration is of great relevance and importance. So I have been working in this place, established biotechnology research here, and India's first bio-based process development pilot plant under public sector. We have established in this institute, Center for Biofuel. We talk Center for Biofuel because specifically it was funded by Technology Information and Assessment Council, TIFAC. But then it is essentially to look and correct the need of second generation feedstock, that is lignocellulosic biomass, which is evidently available all over the world, including our countries and tropics have a huge quantity of such residues, crop residues, what we know. And then since almost 6.5 years in this institute, Indian Institute of Toxicology Research, where we have established a new center for innovation and translational research. This center does not take bench scale, laboratory scale research. but it works on interface between industry and whatever prototype or laboratory process have been developed either by our own institute, or if there is any need for industry to have some solution for their problems or improvements. So this is one of the very successful experiment which we have carried out in our institute. So center is called SITA. So very few words about the institute, that we are involved in industrial and occupational research, where consumer safety is the main theme. Center of the research and technological development is all around consumer safety. And who is the consumer? Any kind of life, just not human beings, any kind of life, aquatic life, plant life, insect life, whatever. Every kind of life is our consumer. So their safety is our concern. We have investigative as well as mechanistic approaches, and we are heavily involved into predictive and risk assessment, more so since last almost 15 years. And as you can see that we have
Public conference connected है.
One meeting is going on. Somehow it has got connected.
what shall we do? We listen that meeting?
No, sir.
No, you need to take the choice. Anyway, I'll try to speak even louder, right? So as you can see that we are heavily linked with industries, and more than 200 industries in last 1 decade or so we have served. This is the center which I mentioned to you, Center for Innovation and Translational Research. Very nice name, SITA, all of you know it very well. And as I say that we work with industry, different kind of modules are available to collaborate with industry according to their need. The essence is to cater them and that at their conditions, according to their requirement. It could be sharing of intellectual property right to develop a product or processes. It could be problem solving, even hiring of space, for example, or providing infrastructure for the industry people. They can come with their manpower, use our infrastructure, and so different kind of models are available. And as you can see that this is one of the most sophisticated equipped center. So now we'll move on to the main topic of this talk, that sustainability. Sustainability is a buzzword. The largest number of time, the one keyword which is being used all over the world, irrespective of scientific domain, humanities and all that, is the sustainability. We all know that everybody is hugely concerned about the sustainability. And even if someone is not concerned, we know that everyone, every kind of life is being impacted because of non-sustainable development which have taken place in particularly last 5 to 7 decades. Industrial development which has revolutionized the whole world, but then in very unsustainable manner. That has the one which so we have been talking about climate change. We have been talking about how to achieve those 17 sustainable goals which the United Nations has put, and in terms of climate change, what is the kind of commitment government has given, the commitment of government of India, and then what are the causative agents. So we all understand that the Convention of Parties in 2015, which has been which was held in Paris, the path-breaking convention, where 203 countries in the world agreed to abide by certain emissions norm, in particularly on greenhouse gases emission. And among greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide is the biggest villain. So certain parameters were set, and India agreed to reduce more than 30% minimum greenhouse gases emission from a level of 2005 to be achieved by 2030. So now the question comes, how do we achieve that? And so some other facts are there that about sustainability and all that. So we established a mission innovation integrated by refineries, launched by Government of India along with Netherlands, one of the partners. So in this one, the idea has been that how to go for sustainable development. That means development of eco-friendly processes, more precisely development of bio-based processes. And when we say bio-based processes, the relevance of microorganisms come very heavily there. In 2003, the entire chemical production in the world has been fossil fuel based, and synthetic chemicals, etc., derived from fossil, petroleum, whatever we get. The biggest chemical industry, that is DuPont, in 2003 announced that by 2020 it will turn 80% bio-based. Bio-based means the chemicals which are there in its basket will be obtained through biological route, that is from the biomass. And when you say biomass, primarily lignocellulosic feedstock. And we know that huge quantity of lignocellulosic feedstock is available. I have already mentioned to you. And then certain targets are put. But all this development were basically linked with the change in climate. Climate change since morning, during daytime, anywhere we so-called intellectual, wherever we meet, we start talking about, somebody comes to your home, you go somewhere on a cup of tea, the first point of discussion, aaj to bahut garmi hai, yeah, aaj to bahut thand hai, we complain everything. We are up to complain anything. If it is raining, we complain it's raining. It does not rain, we say it's not raining. And but then who are the responsible? It's climate change. When you talk of who is responsible, climate change is not new phenomena. I can show you some slides. Climate change has been taking place. The very existence of life on the planet came because of climate change. Climate became inducive. Changes became inducive so that the life could come. The cyanobacteria appeared. They synthesized, photosynthesis started taking carbon dioxide, making oxygen. New development took place and all that. But then, because of this climate change, at least there have been 3 or 4 major climate change, when anything between 75% to 97% species were completely destroyed. Whether it is a insect life or mammalian life or plant life or so on. We all know very precisely about the dinosaurs, and we know it because of those fantastic movies, all that which have been made. But then, when you talk of climate change today, the climate change, the one which is made by man, not man, human. Otherwise, these ladies will become very happy. That is only the men who have made this. The climate change which has been caused by human activities, and more precisely so, industrialization. So this has been the major concern, and a lot of discussions all over the world took place. So we understood that this climate change is being caused because of emission of carbon dioxide as the major point. And this is where the whole world started to work about, looking at what could be possible way to control it. So when you look at emission of carbon dioxide, we know that the largest emission is from industrial sector, which causes something like 41-42% emission of carbon dioxide, and second one is transport sector, which is responsible for something like 32% emission of carbon dioxide. Now industrial growth cannot be stopped by any country, and that means we cannot touch that sector for control of carbon dioxide. New processes can be developed, and this is where bio-based processes get huge relevance. But then one sector which is doable and achievable, more than 194 countries have already started activities, has been the transport sector. That means if you look at generation of energy and use of fuel which are renewable in nature and which are which are carbon neutral or carbon negative, perhaps we can achieve that. And this is where the policies have been made and all that. So what we understood from all that, energy sector is the one which is one of the most important sector for looking either renewable energy generation or some way which can control emission of carbon dioxide. So we started to talk about first generation biofuel, which is, we all know, petrol and diesel and all that. We talked second generation. We talked of bioethanol. It is same exactly C2H5OH, no difference. But just to differentiate between the ethanol produced from food sources, sugar sources or molasses, we said second generation bioethanol, second generation biodiesel, so second generation biofuel, then we talked of third generation biofuel as algal biofuel. We talked of fourth generation biofuel as a biohydrogen, and so on. So I will not go into that one, but then another point which has been of great relevance, which directly impacts human life, is the waste generated all around. So trying to link both the aspect, that how we can use the waste generated and how to solve energy crisis or how to generate renewable energy, this is what is main theme of the presentation. So we know that solid bio waste to energy or any kind of fuel could be of great relevance. So when you talk of waste management, the whole world have started to work on resource recovery. What is waste? How do we define waste? I have this water bottle, I finished the water, and then it became a waste because I do not know how to use it. You are sitting on this chair. If a leg of this chair is broken, we all say this is the waste. It's waste for us, but not for everybody. We know that there are people who will recycle, reuse, or whatever. So waste is the work, that means a material which we do not know how to use it or how to reuse it, we say it's a waste. But then it has a value, and this is where the whole world has moved. Looking at the value addition, that is whatever valuable material could be obtained from all kind of waste. That is the way to recover value, nutrient, chemicals, food, or whatever. So solid waste has been one of the most important candidates for such a process, and also we started to talk about the circular economy. Circular economy or bioeconomy, linear economy. What is linear economy? That we have one material, we manufacture, we use it, and we throw it. It goes to environment. But in circular economy, there is always a recycle. We have natural resources, we draw from the nature, we use a portion, whatever side product are generated, we put back into either nature or reuse them. And whatever material we have used, after use, it should not be simply thrown, but it should be again reused for some purpose. So repurposing, reuse is the important, and in the entire cycle, it is a cyclic process. There is no generation of waste, ideal condition. It does not mean that it happens all the time. So resource recovery is the same. This is what is mentioned here. Now another point which we need to keep into mind. How long you want me to speak? 1 hour? Okay. 1 hour is okay? But when you become bored, you can sleep also, no problem. Or you can look your WhatsApp also. Alright? So we need to keep into mind, we, the biologists, that whatever we do, we have we need to keep a point in mind that we do good science, the first point, bottom line. And that science must be known to the people. That is how science advances. Whatever we knew 1970, 1980, or whatever principles of microbiology which we have read 50 years back, 30 years back, that is how the knowledge increases, right? Because whatever we do, innovation, novelty, new insight, improvement in some results, finding, production title, whatever, that is we publish, and when we publish it, it is known to the people, and this is incremental changes, they add up advancement of science. The second part is that whatever we do it, not necessarily everything should find application, but something must find an application. Science, for the sake of science, cannot be done now anywhere in the world. There were situations when we called that Western countries are rich and their people can afford to do any kind of research. It is not anymore. When you take at 1990 level and the research funding which was available, for example, a country where I collaborated very extensively, France, it was reduced to 60% in 1996, and last year, 2023 December, they made a new policy documentation where they say that we do not want the scientists and researchers to use public money for their research. 90% cut has been put. So you can think of the kind of money which is shrinking We complain, we normally in our country still depend largely on public funded research, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology or whatever it could be. But it will not be possible to continue this trend. It is necessary that we link our research some way, not that every day some new result will come, not that every way some application will develop, but we need to keep into mind. Not the student, all of you, but the people sitting in the front rows and we need, it is important to understand. That means business of biosciences must come out. Business means whatever process we develop, it must have economic feasibility, societal application, and of course the technology, should be at advanced stage when somebody, some industry could be interested. And unless and until this happens, no product or no process can be commercialized. We should not complain to an industry that industry is working for itself. Industry is working for itself, obviously. Now why should we complain it? That if anybody has capability, should put to your own industry. You also draw the benefit and profit. Nobody can stop. But that kind of mindset, primarily because of lot of such things are said in the movies. I watch Hindi movies, so I know Hindi movies. There, the industry is always shown in bad light. As a villain, taking the blood from the poor people and all that. Those things are not correct. So, important point is that there has to be a business case, and the business case can be possible when we derive some resource from the base. So, this is what I mentioned to you. So, solid waste, what we can derive is energy, chemicals, nutrients, including fertilizers, food, and fine chemicals, or any kind of waste which we have been throwing, precisely all over the environment and so on. So look at the perspective of circular economy. I have already explained to you that we have how the production system is there, how the consumption system is there, and everything obviously we derive from nature, and it is necessary that we give back to nature in a sustainable manner. The replenishment is very critical for environmental sustainability, ecological sustainability. An example I'll give you, which we have witnessed in many states in our country, including Gujarat. Not more than 1/6 sand, which is brought by a river, should be taken out. If you take more quantity of sand from a river bed, in course of time, it may be a decade, it may be 3 decades, river will die. We had never heard a death of river, but this has become very prevalent in last 50 years in our country. And it is because of not following the standard sustainability norm for removing sand from a river. So that is true for any kind of any material which we take from the nature. So this is what is their biophysical environment, and I have already mentioned to you that how we need to work on to this one. And overall economy, partnership, supply, when we talk of bioeconomy in a waste to resource recovery management, as you can see, the dynamism of scale is important, sustainable, feasible, and actionable. This is the first point we need to understand. And then, today, we have a large number of processes people claim for biohydrogen production. But then that biohydrogen production, that what you call this dynamism of scaling is very important. There are theoretical calculation. Today we get, for example, one of the best process which has been developed in our country on biohydrogen is from Institute of Chemical Technology at Mumbai, Professor J.D. Yadav. He has achieved it. Prototype development is taking place at 2 places in this country. But the scale at which the cost of hydrogen will be affordable, that is something like $1 a kilogram, is 100 metric ton per day. You think of the quantity, and unless we achieve that, that will not be economically sustainable. So scale of dynamism is of great relevance, and then these are the other parameters which are important when you talk of bioeconomic partnership. You don't have to worry much about this one. So when you talk of solid waste, precisely bio waste, we have 3 major concerns. Food waste, I'll give a few glimpses of these. So look at the food waste. Again, we know that almost 35% population in this world does not get 2 meals, just 1 meal, and then more than 40% do not get a completely balanced diet. As you can see, but in spite of the fact, the kind of waste which is being made all over the world, whether it is a rich country, what you call industrialized country, or what you call is other block developing countries or poor countries, the wastage is substantially high, almost identical in both the regions. So, important point is, can we do something with this? Because we are not able to control the waste, but then can we use this food waste for developing sustainable process for resource recovery? Yes, it is possible, and it is being done very strongly in last 1 decade. Some more information that per capita food loss and waste at consumption and pre-consumption rate in different regions. So as you can see that this is production to retailing wastage in Europe substantially high, North America substantially high, industrial Asia substantially high, and everywhere it is a huge quantity of waste is being production to retailing, and at consumer level also again the industrial countries the waste is very high. So whatever it could be, irrespective of economic condition, there is a substantial quantity of food waste being waste either at consumer level or production to retailing level. So what we know that there are systems in place to collect them, to utilize them for recovery of resources, and in such reason bioprocesses have been developed, lot of microbes have been developed which are genetically or metabolically refined in order to suit their utilization either in anaerobic digestion or composting, or to recover or to produce other value-added products, including, for example, amino acids, taking food waste, starchy component of food waste, doing some kind of pre-treatment to remove the grease, that is a fatty component, and thereafter whatever starch is left out, hydrolyzing using amylolytic enzymes, and then going for fermentation. Mostly when you take of amino acid, it is genetically modified Corynebacterium glutamicum, and mostly European countries. In 2003, we talked about using this lignocellulosic biomass for developing bio-based process and product development, particularly taking the example of biofuel, bioethanol, and we have been so the first thing we prepared position paper for Department of Science and Technology and CSIR and so on, that what we call white paper, looking at the possibility of utilizing them for developing bio-based process and product development.